Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Vicky and today you're joining me to make this delightful little cushion stone component necklace. This necklace is made up of 4 little components before I've added this beaded chain and a very ornate, fabulous looking clasp. I've popped a little drop on the bottom here and there's some little bicone connectors between our components. The smaller components are a 10mm cushion stone and the bigger one is a 12mm cushion stone. The way I've designed this necklace is to become like a V shape, I guess, into quite a classic looking necklace, quite a classic looking shape. But you don't have to do that. If you only have 10mm stones or you only have 12mm stones, you can make these pieces up and do them however you want. So let's take a little look at what we need. Okay, so on my mat today, let's just move things together so you guys can see. On my mat today, I have a size 11 seed bead. I have a size 15 seed bead. Now, I have got a second size 15 seed bead, but that's mainly for demonstration purposes. I've only used one colour on this necklace, but on the demonstration what I'm doing today, I will use 2, just so it's a bit easier to see where I'm going through some of the beads. I have a 2mm pearl, which I've used Austrian 2mm pearls. If you use a Czech pearl, they might be a little bigger, or a Chinese pearl might be a little bit bigger or a bit smaller. So check that out while when you're making your components, see how they fit. If the pearls that you have aren't sitting well, you could actually try replacing them with a size 11 seed bead if you want to, or you could try a 2mm crystal. It doesn't have to be a pearl. You can play around with it. You can try what you need to make it work for you. I have a 10mm cushion stone and I have a 12mm cushion stone. Now you'll need a couple more of these, but you will only need one of them. And then I've just got some little beads. I've got some pearls. I've got a drop pearl for the bottom. It doesn't have to be a pearl. You could use a crystal one. Lots of possibilities with component style necklaces, so you work with what you've got for you. On the one I'm making today, I'm actually not going to put this chain on. I'm going to put actual chain on just to show a bit of a difference in the pieces. I've got a clasp. You might need jump rings, but all the material list will be down in the description box, and I'm going to leave a couple of little links because everyone's going to want to know where to get this clasp. And yeah, I'll leave a couple of little links so for things that are a bit harder to get hold of. And I guess that's everything. So now we can start. Okay, so we're going to start our smaller component, and let me just grab one I've already made. So our smaller component, our 10mm cushion stone, we start in right angle weave. So we're going to start by picking up 4 size 11 seed beads, like so. And we're going to take them all the way down our thread, and you're going to want to use different lengths of thread for each component. The bigger one will obviously need more thread, but saying that, the smaller ones you're going to use for connectors, and you might want to bead a chain off it. So use what you're comfortable with, and you can always add in as you go. I usually work with a wingspan of thread, which is like both arms open, as wide as my body is, I guess, lengthwise that way. So that's my go-to. And then if I've got thread left over, I tend to just pop it into a little pot if it's long enough to reuse for other projects. But yeah, wingspan of thread is what I always go with. Okay, so we picked up these 4 size 11 seed beads. I've dropped them down to the end of my thread, and I'm leaving about a 10cm tail to weave in. I'm now going to take my needle, back up all 4 beads, like so. And then I'm going to go up 2 again, just like that. And that will put them 4 little beads, which I'm going to pull tight into this little ring, and we've got this little right angle weave ring. Essentially, this is our starting unit. Okay, so I'm coming out of this size 11, coming out of what I would say is the bottom of the size 11. I'm now going to pick up 3 size 11s, and I'm going to take my needle back down the size 11 I'm coming out of, like so, to create this next little raw unit. So you can see we have 4 beads there, and now even though I've only added 3, we have 4 beads again, because we're using this one as a connector bead. I'm now going to take my needle through the first 2 beads that I've just added, so through like that, and I'm just going to pull tight. So I'm essentially coming out of this new side bead. So I've come away from, that was the one we came out of, we added our 3, and then I've moved forward 2. I'm going to repeat that again because now I'm coming out of essentially the top of that bead. I'm going to pick up 3 size 11 seed beads, and I'm going to go back up the one I'm coming out of, and pull tight, and then I'm going to go through the next 2 11s of the new 2 11s, like so. And now we have another raw unit. You can see them 4 seed beads joined together by this one side seed bead. We're going to continue that for a total of 11 raw units before we'll join together with our 12th. So 11 raw units. Okay, so I have my 11 raw units. So now I want to join them together. So I'm just going to flip that over. Take my tail that way so I can keep a hold of that for a minute. I like to wrap it around my thumb, so I like to keep hold of it between my fingers and my thumb, and that's to stop it from flipping over as we're joining them together, because you don't want to find that you've joined it and then you've got to unpick it because it's twisted. So holding onto your units with your fingers and your thumb, I'm coming out the top of this unit. If you're coming out the bottom, it's fine, it doesn't make any difference. And this is the last, this would have been if you were adding another unit, you would have been coming out of this bead. So I'm picking up one size 11, I'm coming out of this side of my size 11, and I'm going to take my needle down the very first size 11 on this side of this first unit, like so. So I'm coming out of that and I'm going down, up out of this one, down into the very first one. And I'm going to pull that so you can kind of see it now. It starts to wrap around my thumb, and everything's in control. You can see that bead between them is joining. There's the thread, and the bead is joining the last unit to the first unit. I'm going to pick up one size 11, and I'm going to go back up the size 11 we started from. So when we came out of this one and we added that bead, I'm now taking my needle straight back up that one, like so. So now you should have 2 beads, which would be essentially the top and the bottom of your raw units, because these are the 2 side beads. And we're just going to pull that tight. My thumbs are not that small that I can keep it on there anymore. And now I'm just going to go through all that unit again. So them 2 new beads we've added and the 2 side beads, just to stabilize it. Like so. And now you have this ring of raw units, right angle weave units. So now I'm just going to go straight into, so I'm coming out of this side one, as you can see here, but I want to be coming out of this top one. So I'm just going to take my needle right into that top one there, like so. So I'm coming out of the top of this raw unit here. It's going to get a little bit weird now, because I'm going to, as I'm building up the next round of raw units, that's going to become our bottom raw unit, or bottom bead of our next raw unit, but at the moment it's the top, so bear with me. Okay, so we're going to pick up 3 15s, like so. I'm coming out of this bead, I'm just going to go straight back into that bead from the other side, and that will create your first raw unit on your next round. So you can see that you've got your bottom bead here, 2 side beads and a top bead. I'm now going to go up that first side bead, like so. So my thread is now coming out of this first side bead here. That's the only time we're going to add 3 in this round. The same as we only added 4 in the first one when we did our first round. We only once had added 4. We're only once going to add 3. We're now going to pick up 2. Now, as you can see, we've used this bead as the bottom of our next row unit. So this next bead along is the bottom of our next row unit. So this next 11 along. So I've got my 2 size 15s on my needle. I'm coming out of the top of this side bead, and I'm going to take my needle towards the beads I've just added through this size 11, like so. And I'm going to pull. And then I'm going to take my needle back into the size 15 we started from, that size 15, like so. And now you can see we have our second row unit, because there's the bottom bead, the 2 side beads and the top bead. I'm now going to come through my next 2 15s of that new unit, like so. And I'm going to automatically join this 15 to this next size 11 along, and that's the next bottom bead we're coming out of, like so. So I'm coming out of the size 11 now, and our side bead, our joining bead, is already joined to this size 11 here. I'm going to pick up 2 size 15s, and I'm going to come down that size 15, that side 15, that's joined to this size 11, like so. I'm going to go through the 11 we started from and up into the side 15, like so. So now we have our third row unit, the bottom, the 2 side beads and the top. We're going to repeat this one now, because you alternate them. So we're going to repeat the second one that I added. So we're picking up 2 15s, take your needle towards your beads through the size 11, the next size 11 along. Go up the 15 you were coming out of, through the next 2 of the new 2 you've just added, and into the next size 11 along. Pick up 2, come down the side 15 of that previous unit, like so, through the size 11 that you're already joined to, and up the next side 15 of that unit, of the new unit. So we're just going to continue adding on our 2 15s all the way around, just alternating how you add them on. You're coming out of obviously this side 15, you pick up 2, you go through the 11, up the 15, and then work your round until you're coming out of the next size 11 along, and then so on and so on. Keep going until you get to your last unit. So once you get to your last unit, we're not going to add 2 beads, we're only going to add 1, but I will show you that when I get there. Okay, I've just added my last set of 2 15s, and as you can see I have this single last 11 that's not joined, but you can see that my side beads on the first row unit we did there and the last row unit we've just put on there are in place, so we will only need to add the top 15 here. So I'm currently coming out of the top of this side bead, I'm going to pick up one 15, I'm going to go down this side bead on the first unit, through the 11, that single last 11 that we've got that's free, and then back up the size 15 that I've just started from on that side, and that joins our last unit together. And now I'm going to take my needle straight into a top 15 in the unit, top 15, like so. So that's how your work should look so far. You should have these 2 row units joined together, the one made fully out of 11s and the one made out of 111 and 3 15s. So we're coming now out of this top 15 of a raw unit. I'm going to change colour and I'm going to pick up, bear in mind you don't have to change colour, you can stay with the colour that you're working with if you feel comfortable. If you want to change colour because you want to be able to see where you're going, that's fair. So I'm coming out of this top 15 of this raw unit here. I'm just going to take my needle straight into the next top 15 of the next raw unit. So you can see that I've now joined these two top 15s and I've got the side ones there underneath the one I've just added. And then I'm going to do that again. I'm going to pick up 115 and I'm going to go straight into the next top 15 of the next raw unit along, like so. And I'm just going to continue that all the way around. And I've just added my last 15. I'm just going straight back into the 15 that I started the round from, like so. So now you just have this little ring of beads joining all them raw stitches together. Okay, so now I want to weave through my beads to come out of one of these size 11s on the other side of my bezel. So you have to follow the thread path, you can't automatically just go straight up. So I'm coming out of that top 15 there of that unit. So come up this side one, through the 11, and then up a side 11. Now this is going to become our top because we're working this way now, and into the next top 11 on the other side. There we go. So you should be coming out of, move that tail thread, you should be coming out of one of these 11s on the other side. All the ones that are still sticking up. We're now going to pop in our, so this is for the 10mm cushion stone. So we're popping in the 10mm cushion stone. Now you want your edges, your corners, to be sat. So if you just take a look at this, the corners want to be sat in front of an 11. So an 11 right at the corner of each. There we go. Let's move them round. See that one there? That one's got one. Just make sure they're all doing what I want them to do. There we go. That's better. There we go. Yeah, that's better. So we want corners there because we're now going to add in another row of 15s, but we're not going to work in raw. We're just going to add the 15s in between the 11s, just like we've just done with our second colour 15 on the other side. So pop your little stone in and then pick up 115 and go straight into the next 11 along on your raw unit, next raw unit. So flip him so you can see that 15 is sat between these two 11s. And you're going to do that again and pull tight as you go. There we go. That 15 is now sat between them two 11s, and we're just going to continue that all the way around, adding in 15s. I'm just adding in my last 15 into the 11 I started from, and pull tight. Now on the 10mm, I am only going to add one row of 15s. If you want to add another row of 15s, that's perfectly fine. You can do so. You just would step up into a 15 and then add a 15 between the 15s, essentially working in peyote. So if you want to do that, if you want to add that a second round, feel free. I've not. I'm just going to stick with the one round. So I'm still coming out of my size 11 that I've just added my 15s in from, that first size 11. And now I'm going to pick up a 2mm pearl. Who says? There we go, this one. And I'm just going to go straight into the next size 11 along. So the ones we've just used to add in the 15s, we're now going to use them again to add in 2mm pearls. So just going straight into that next size 11 along. Like so. So now that 2mm pearl sits behind the 15 and between these two size 11s. And we're just going to do that again. Pick up one 2mm pearl, miss that 15 and just go straight into the next 11 along that we used when we added the 15s. Pull tight. And then we're just going to repeat that all the way around. And I'm just about to add in my last pearl into the 11 that I started from. Like so. Okay, so now you can see we've got pearls all the way around sitting behind our 15s. So before we talked about corners, so have a little look at your stone, and as you can see I have a 2mm pearl there on this side, a 2mm pearl there, a 2mm pearl there, and a 2mm pearl there. So these corners are here, 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 and here. So we're going to add 3 15s into our corners now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to weave through the next pearl, size 11, pearl, size 11, pearl, to get to that next corner. You will feel everything tightening up, so don't rush it, don't pull, don't be heavy-handed essentially. Just take your time, take it easy. You'll get there. Size down to a smaller needle if you feel like you need to. If you're already coming out near your corners already, then you can essentially going to start doing what I'm doing right now. So as you can see, I'm coming out of this pearl. That one is still on my side, so I'm now going to pick up 3 15s and I'm going to go into the next pearl along, like so, and that will give you a more definitive corner. So I'm now going to weave through the next 11, pearl, 11, and into the next pearl. Okay, that took me a minute because I didn't want to go through my first pearl, but here I am at my next corner. So I'm going to pick up 3 15s and go into the next pearl along from the one I'm coming out of. And there's my second corner. We're going to go through the next 11, pearl, 11, pearl, and add a corner here, and then through the next 11, pearl, 11, pearl, and add the corner here. So I'm just adding in my last corner, my last 3 15s, and into my next pearl along. If they're not sitting how you want them, give them a little wiggle, give them a little tighten. Oh, that's why this one of the beads I've just picked up, there's a little bit on the thin side, so I'll just take them off. I always take my needle off when I'm pulling out beads, just rather than going back. I always find that it's just easier than getting tangled between the threads that already might be inside of your beads. So I'm just going to add my needle here. There we go. And I'm just going to pick up 3 15s again, check that they're all okay, and just go straight. Oh no, one's jumped off. Just go straight into that next pearl along. And again, just give them a little wiggle if you feel like they need it. So now you have these 4 little corners. So now your bead has gone from being a rounded shape to a square. And that's, I mean, you could use that from there. That's a component on its own. But we're now going to weave down to these size 11s that we use to add our raw 15s on the back of our bezel. So go into your size 11, down a side size 11, ooh, not into a 15, like so. I'm going to turn it over, move my tail, which I will weave in a minute, and go into a size 11 on the back. So you can see that's the top one we've just used, then the 2 side ones, and now I'm coming out this bottom one of this raw unit here, this size 11, and I'm working on the back now. I'm going to pick up 1 size 11 and I'm just going to go straight into the next size 11 along on this back set of bottom 11s on them raw units. So that using the 11s that we used to add our 15s earlier on in our raw units, just adding in another one, another size 11, and we're just going to continue adding size 11s between these size 11s all the way around. I went a bit quick on that one, so I've added a size 11 there and then another one, and now I'm just going to pick up another one and go into the next one along, And again, I'm just going to continue adding size 11s all the way around, the same kind of way we did with our pearls when we added pearls between our size 11s. So just add size 11s all the way around. I'm just about to add my last size 11, so I'm coming out of this one and I'm just going to go back into the one we started from, like so. So you now should have this round of size 11s between your size 11s on the back of your bezel. And I'm just gonna, because of where I am, I'm here before, so I'm coming out of this size 11 that's facing this one that is between our two pearls. So the size 11s I've just added are in line with our pearls that we added previously. So I'm just going to step up into that first size 11 that I added. I've just added now in that previous round. And as you can see, that is in line with that pearl. So I'm going to pick up 3 15s. I'm going to miss that size 11, the next size 11 along that we've just used to add our new size 11s, and go into the next new size 11. So I'm essentially doing what I did with the pearls. We're adding in 15s on our corners, but these size 11s are what were the pearls on the top. So you can see I've added these 3 15s here between these two new size 11s. I'm going to go through my next 1 2 3 4 size 11s along. So the ones on the previously and the new ones. So go through 4 of them until I'm coming out of the next new size 11 that faces this pearl on this corner here. And then I'm going to pick up 3 15s. And I'm just going to go into the next new size 11 along, like so. So these 15s are matching up. And I'm just going to go through the next 4 11s before repeating that corner and then again to do that corner. Okay, so I'm coming out of this size 11 on the back. I've just added my last 3 15s. I'm now going to weave around to come out of the middle 15 of this first 3 that we would have added. So just go through them next 4 11s and through your first 2 15s that you've just added, like so. So you should be coming out of this middle 15 of this set of 3 here. I'm now going to pick up 1 2mm pearl, and I'm going to take my needle, let's turn it this way, into the middle 15 of the set of 3 15s that's above the ones I'm coming out of. So coming out of this side, so I'm going to go in the same side with the middle 15 on the top set and pull through. And then I'm going to go back down the pearl, so the pearl is attached to either side of that 15, that middle 15 on the top, and back into the one I've come out of from the opposite, the other side, so that you should have 2 bits of thread on either side of this 15, like so. So now you can see that that pearl is joined to these 2 middle 15s either side, piece of thread either side. You're going to weave round and repeat that on your next corner, and then again repeat on the next 2 corners. I'm just added in my last pearl, and I'm going back into my 15, and I'm just going to take my needle through the next 15 after that, and then I'm going to weave my way over to this middle 15, which already has the pearl into. The first one we added the pearl into, that middle 15. Like so. So I'm coming out of that middle 15. And now you can see this component is finished, and you can see that you have this really cute little square shaped component, pearls on the sides, and that would be you could use that as an earring on its own. You could do lots of things with that. You could have 2, you could join them together bottom to bottom and make with that middle 11 and make a really nice little bracelet. There's lots of things you can do with the components. I love component jewellery for that reason. So, but obviously we're making this necklace today. So as you can see, I already have my 2 them components there. So I also have my 12mm one. Now when making the 12mm one, you will have to start with a bigger base row of raw. So I did 15 raw units before joining with a 16th. So you need 16 raw units overall. Like I said earlier, I added a second row of 15s on the top in peyote. So I came out of this 15, picked up a 15 and went into the next 15. And I did that all the way around, adding in 15s. You can do that on the small ones if you wish. The back is the same, exactly the way we did the small one. You would do in the back the same. The only difference is the extra row of 15s and the extra 4 units of raw. And that's how to make the 12mm one. I'm sure you once you know how to do them too, you don't need me to demonstrate how to do a bigger one. You've got the measurements. So that's that one. And then I have the last one, which is a different colour from the first two, because I decided to use 3 different colours in my piece. But again, if you've got all the same colour, don't worry, just use all the same colours, that's fine. And this is the one that's going to sit at the bottom of my 12mm one. So all my components are made, so let's start joining things together. So firstly, we will join our 10mm to our 12mm, and we're coming out of this middle 15 on the bottom, and we're going to pick up 2 11s, 1 4mm bicone and 2 11s, like so. Now I'm going to hold this in my hand. I always find it really hard to show joining components because, you know, there's more than one thing going on, you're trying to film it. But coming out of my 11, I'm now going to go into the middle 15 on the 12mm corner, like so. Oh, not like so. There we go, hold it for a minute, like so, and pull that through, so they're now joined. I'm going to pick up 2 11s. I'm going to go back through the bicone. I'm going to pick up 2 11s, and I'm going to go back into the 15 I started from the other side. And pull tight. So now we have this little join of 11s and bicones, or 11s and bicone, joining our 10mm to our 12mm. I'm just going to go through the first 2 size 11s I added, like so. And then I'm going to pick up 4 size 11s. I'm going to skip the bicone and go through the next 2 size 11s, the other side of the bicone. I'm going to go back through my 15 on my 12mm, like so. Turn myself around as we go. I'm going to go through my next 2 11s. I haven't got the other 4 joined to them. Then I'm going to pick up 4 size 11s. I'm going to skip the bicone on this side and go through the next 2 11s, like so. So you've got these 4 11s on either side of the bicone, which are joined to the 2 11s either side of the bicone. I'm going to go back through my 15. I'm going to go through the 2 11s here and 2 of the new 4 11s. Like so. So I'm now coming out of this second 11 of the set of 4. I'm going to pick up 1 15, and I'm going to go through the next 4 11s on this side. So the 2 of the 4 and the 2 already in place that are attached to our 15. Before weaving round to repeat, adding that 15 on the other side. So through that 15 there, turn as you go, if you need to, that is, through the 2 11s, through the next 2 11s of the 4, And then we're going to repeat this by picking up one 15 and going through the next two 11s and the 2 of the 4 and the 15. Now if you wanted to be uber fancy, because obviously this necklace isn't fancy enough, you could actually weave around, let me show you on this one, and add a drop here, so you could have more sparkle coming off it, more drops coming off it. You could so many things to do, so many things you could play with, but yes, you could do that using that size 15. You could attach it with a right angle weave stitch so it all matches in, but at the moment that's our 2 components joined, and I will join that one to that one in a second. But where is my other one gone? She says there it is. Here we go. So I'm going to pick up my other component now. I'm going to take my needle off that one, and I'm going to come round and join this component to the bottom of this component here. So I'm coming out of, if you look at the placement of my bicone is on this corner here, I want to be coming out of this second pearl along on the bottom row of your 12mm component. And as you can see, when we added our corners on this one, I left 2 pearls between each one compared to the 1 we've left on the smaller component. But now I'm coming out of that second pearl, and I'm just going to take my needle through the middle 15 on the top set of 3, like so. Just taking my needle through that middle 15, so coming out this pearl through the middle 15 and then into the next pearl along on the 12mm component, so that just sits between the little 15 sits between them 2 pearls. And then I'm going to probably bob round and make that all nice and neat all the way around, and so I can come back and reinforce this. Or actually I might just, because it might be a bit tight, mightn't it, I might just go through my right angle weave unit, because that's the best thing, because you can just do an about turn essentially using your right angle weave units till I get round to be able to reinforce that bit. So I'll have to get all the way over here to do that. So I'll do it in a minute, because I can do that when you guys are off making your own. But now we're going to add the drop part coming off this unit that is attached to the 12mm unit. So you can thread my needle. I feel like I should have multiple needles for multiple different thread paths. And I know there's thread everywhere now. Please try and ignore all the extra threads. But I'm coming, so we've used that 15 there to join between the 2 pearls to join to the 12mm. I'm now coming out of the middle 15 on the back of my 10mm component, the middle one. So I'm going to pick up 2 11s. I'm just using these quite biggish pearl drops. So a pearl drop and 1 11. If you wanted to add a picot here, you could pick up 3 15s. That's also an option. I'm going to take them all the way down so that they sit that side of my 15. I'm going to come around and I'm going to go back up the pearl, drop and pull tight, back up the next 11 of the set of 2 that we just picked up, and then I'm going to pick up 1 more 11 and I'm going to go back into my 15 from the other side. Let me just turn this over so you can see what I'm doing there. So the 11 that we started with is coming out of that side, and we're just going back into the other side to create that raw unit using that 15. And then I'm just going to reinforce that just to make sure it's nice and happy and nice and tight. Okay, so that is my 1/2 of my piece already joined. I will go on to add this little component here, this little bicone join on this side, and weave in my threads before then coming out of the, as you can see on this one, I've added this bicone and pearl chain. So in order to do that, I've added a right angle weave unit first, but I will show you how I've done that in a second. Let me just make this all nice and then I'll be back with you. Okay, so I've got back to my 10mm component. I've joined everything together so it all looks really cool. As you'll have seen, this one actually has chain on it, when you've probably seen in the photograph as we started. But I'm gonna just show you how to do that little pearl and bicone rope bit, but I'll just do a tiny piece of it first, just so you guys can see how it works. So I'm coming out of this middle 15 of these 315s on the bottom of my component on the back. So I'll turn that over. There you can see. I'm going to pick up 2 11s, 1 6mm pearl, an 11, a bicone, an 11, an 8mm pearl, an 11, a bicone, an 11, and a 6mm pearl. Let me just pop them all up. This one doesn't work out. There you go. Okay, so like that. They're the beads I'm using so far. Now, if you imagine this is the end of our rope, to do the loop on the end before adding the clasp, I've picked up 7 size 11s, like so. I've took them down to meet the pearl, because the pearl will be what you'll finish on, and then I'm going to go down the first 11 you've just picked up to create a little loop, and then I'd go down all my beads again, because you want to go through them a couple of times, all the beads. You want to really reinforce that chain if that's what you're going to be making. So all them beads again, the bigger beads, through the first size 11 after the pearl, the very first pearl you started with. Like so. And then repeating what we did here with the drop, where we added the size 11 to make that little right angle weave kind of stitch. I'm going to pick up 1 size 11 and go back into the 15 that we started from. So you would have gone all the way up with all your beads, you would have added them all on, you would have put your loop, and you would have come all the way back down. That's going to make a knot. There we go. And that just gives us these 3 little beads here attached to this. And then you will go back up the first size 11 on this side, and then go through all your beads again until you come to your loop. You may need to add in thread, you may have enough. Just see how you go. Through here, all the way up, through the first size 11 before you get to that loop, and then you've got these 6 size 11s. We're going to go into the first one of the 6, and we're just going to pick up 115 and go into the next one, like so, and then again 115, go into the next one, and you're just going to repeat that all the way around your loop, adding in 5 single 15s before heading down and reinforcing and adding in some heart hitch knots. So we put that one to one side. As you can see on this one, there's that loop, and then I've attached a jump ring and this very pretty clasp to this one. Obviously add whatever clasp you have in your stash, but if you did want one, I'll put the link, hopefully if it's still available, I'll put the link in the description box to this one. And then yes, that one makes a very Regent period, like a Regency style necklace. It's just very, very, very pretty. And this one will be equally pretty when I've added the chain, taken this little bit off, and also added a new 15 here, because as I was going through this, unfortunately, like I always say, beads can break, and I broke one on this side, so I'm going to go fix that. Okay, so if you're not adding the pearl and bicone chain and you want to just add the metal chain, then this is how I have added my chain on. So I'm still coming out of this middle 15 at the back of the 10mm component. I'm going to pick up 6 size 11s, and I'm just going to go back into that 15 that I'm coming out of. And then the same way we did at the top of our loop on that one, I'm going to go through the first 11. I'm going to pick up 115 and go straight into the next 11, like so. And then I'm just going to add 15s between 11s all the way around for a total of 5. And then from there, once the loop is done, you can weave off your threads and add your jump ring and your chain. So there we go, that's my little loop, and I've got one already on the other side. So yeah, that's how to do that bit. Okay, as you can see, I've now added my chain onto this one that we've been making, and I think you'd agree that it looks quite different to the one with the beads as the chain with the more ornate clasp. But both are beautiful, and you know, one might be more daytime, one might be more nighttime, so you could make that choice on which way you want to finish your piece. Thank you for joining me. Our necklaces are now done. I hope to see you again in my next videos. There's plenty more content coming up, so keep an eye out for that. And if you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel. That would be fantastic. Thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely day. Take care. Bye now.